Okay, now first things first. If she's single and she does not have children, you need to stick between a 6 and an 8. And the 8 is pushing it. Because once you hit those 8s, 9s, and 10s, you probably don't have enough money, attention, or patience for that woman. Because she's probably not used to being told no. She gets attention all day long. It's going to be a lot of maintenance.
For a fact. And it's not just she's getting just attention, because obviously you can get hit on by she can get hit on by a bunch of random guys walking down the street. She has artists in her DM, streamers in her DM, you know, maybe movie stars, depending on what she look like, famous YouTubers, people with money. So it's not just general attention. It's attention from men that she finds attractive. They have status and they have wealth, and that's important.
The more beautiful the woman, the bigger the headache. So you got to be ready for that. Unless you got a big bag and that's what you want to do, then cool. But if not, you need to stick between those 6s and those 8s. Okay, they're a little bit more humble.
And I remember Kevin Samuels had talked about that, you know, rest in peace. When you date a woman in that range from a 6 to an 8, she can, when she wants to, of course, or with a little bit of work her way up to higher numbers. So if you're dealing with an 8 and she will get her hair done, put on some makeup and a nice fit, she might be a 9 or a 10. If you're dealing with a 7, you know, she may work her way up to an 8 or a 9, or 6 can do the same thing to a 7 to an 8. But her base level needs to be between that range of like a 6 to 8.
Now, on the other end, if she's single and she has children, you can go a little bit higher up on the beauty scale. You can hit those 8s, 9s, and 10s, but you need to make sure. Let her have a low Instagram following. She's not really.
That's going to be really, really, really hard to find. Like you said, if she is like a 8, 9, like a 9 and 10 or higher mid 8, 9, and 10, even if she has kids, she's posting. You know, social media, though everyone uses it, women predominantly benefit the most from it in a very passive way. It's free validation, attention. It's like their type of Tinder, so to speak. Like, they don't have to do anything. You just post something looking cute and you just wait for all the men to come flooding into your DMs. But since she has a kid, she's not going to be able to move as freely as a woman who doesn't. And she's going to be much more conscious, usually, of the men that she chooses to interact with because of that movement. It's like, okay, well, I have a kid, and I have to be more responsible about who I'm bringing my child around. And she knows that she's operating from a deficit, because most men in a long-term interaction, like they're looking for a serious partner, they don't want a woman who has a kid already. They just don't.
Outside too much. Nobody really knows that much about her. You want to make sure she's not always outside. Now, I'm not saying moms can't be outside, but what I'm saying is if she's always outside and she has kids, you might want to check those mothering skills, because her priorities aren't right. Now, another thing is you need to make sure she says she doesn't hate her ex, because usually with women, it's the opposite. If she says she hates him, she probably still loves him. And then, of course, you want them to be in a neutral space with the other parent, okay? Because that's a level of maturity. You want to make sure she's a mature woman.
And you also want to make sure that there isn't still like that imprint there. Like, there's no stronger imprint on a woman than giving your womb to a man. Yeah, like you literally made a person together. And going through what that entails, both before the pregnancy, you know, during the pregnancy and after, there's a spiritual bond that they have that regardless what you do for her, what you look like, how much money you make, you cannot replace that bond. That just has to be something that over time may waver depending on how bad their interaction was when it ended or how good. But like she said, if they're not in like a neutral space, you always run the risk of just being this guy in between the time period when they broke up and when she just goes back to him. And she'll just cycle through these guys. So they'll be really good and they'll be working on everything. Oh, we're going to have our family together. And then they'll break up because of some argument or he's cheating, what have you. And then she'll go entertain some guy for a couple months. And you're sitting there thinking that you got this girl and you paying for stuff for her kid. And the minute baby daddy gets his act together, she just spins back and now you're tight because you didn't properly analyze the interaction that she had with this man that she literally made a person with. Like, do you understand that? Like, she made a person with this man. But if she's being toxic, that can also demonstrate, like she said, her immaturity. Like, is she being toxic because they broke up and he's moved on? And that's usually stereotypically the case. If they break up and he moved on and she still wants him, she'll be bitter, resentful. And that's also a warning for how she can potentially treat you if you guys stop talking. Because who's really going to believe anything you have to say as a man when you have a woman here crying, yelling, and screaming about things that you've done, even if you didn't do them?
Women with children, they usually make a little bit more sacrifices. They know how to put other people before them. Then, you know, they're probably going to cook a good meal and take care of the house. So, but like I said, you got to watch out for those other things.
So obviously, just overall, you got to make sure you analyze her interaction with her baby father. How does she speak about him? Is she someone that is so quick to slander him, or any of her exes overall? Is she somebody that's running the streets constantly? You know, as you go up in that attractiveness scale, you're going to deal with women who are so used to being drowned in attention and affection that she can't really sit inside or like be with herself. And that's someone you don't really want to deal with anyway. But how do you feel about this? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm gonna catch y'all later.